What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the WARFRAME video. So we got a for fun discussion video today going over some ideas I have for the Steel Path to make it more challenging. A lot of late game players can completely destroy the Steel Path, like no questions asked, and it's feeling easier than ever, honestly. So I'm gonna get right into it. This might turn to a series at some point, but I'm going to start with just one aspect of the Steel Path today, and that's going to be Steel Path Acolytes. But before getting to this discussion stuff, make sure you sub the channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads. I'll be up with the Borrow video tomorrow and some other stuff this weekend too, so make sure that you're subscribed to this channel to see when all that stuff goes up. Also, I'll be live on stream after this video goes up, farming out some ducats for Borrow, and also getting some new build testing in for the Dante Unbound update later in March. There hasn't been an announcement so far on what the exact release date is, but hopefully still next week. But honestly, it's probably going to be 2 weeks from now, since we haven't heard any information until right now. Okay, let's get right into it. So we have Steel Path Acolytes, and basically this video series is like Steel Path too easy, basically. Because for late game players, we completely destroy this stuff. Now, the aspect I want to talk about today, and about Acolytes, is going to be about the Acolyte level scaling and how it's independent from normal enemy scaling in these missions. So you basically are like, in the footage right now, we are level 2,000, 3,000, there's a level 245 Acolyte. I think that's pretty silly, personally. And it's the case for level 10,000 enemies, too. You're fighting a level 10,000 enemy in Void Cascade, and the Acolyte's like level 300. So this is independent scaling of the actual enemies in the mission. I believe it's time-based. So the reason we're seeing such low-level Acolytes in these missions is like they start at like the base level, I'm guessing like 150 in these missions, and over time, let's say like every 10 minutes they go up like 10 levels. So now I don't know if that's the exact number scaling or anything like that, but I'm just saying that in a mission like this, we are fighting level 3,000 enemies, and we have a level 200 under level 250 Acolyte in the background too. That has always been the case, and I find that to be very silly, as these Acolytes are meant to be a deterrent, or rather, like they're supposed to be like an actual threat, but all they really are is just an extra loot drop every like 5 minutes. They don't really, like, the only thing that's a threat to them is like, oh, they turn, if the Limbo Acolyte appears, oh, you turn off my Mesmer skin, oh, you turned off my whatever your defensive skill is, your assimilate, whatever. That is all they are a little gimmick. They throw in their one little special attack. The bubble guy throws a bubble on you, and then you die to self-damage because the bubble is annoying, hard to see sometimes. The Limbo Acolyte turns off your abilities, and you die to some enemy in the background you didn't even notice. And you can't kill Limbo quick enough because your abilities are all turned off. And the other ones, too, it's like, okay, a cheap shot from the Valkyr Acolyte when you're invis. Like, it appears behind you and slash procs you. These enemies aren't exactly, like, I wouldn't call them mini-bosses. They're more just like a cheap shot. That's what it feels like. The Acolytes feel like a cheap shot, and they don't actually properly scale. So I think that maybe some Acolyte changes should come in here, mainly with the scaling, though. I think that I should never be seeing a level 10,000 enemy and a level 300 Acolyte next to each other, period. Like, it's just silly to me. And additionally, if they want to make it where the Acolytes maybe have a little bit more... Most of them do have counterplay. The Limbo one doesn't feel like it has counterplay unless you stun him like the second he spawns. But maybe some counterplay for Acolytes, maybe some televised attacks. Like, you can kind of tell when the bubble from the one Acolyte's going to appear, but if you haven't fought the Acolyte many times and analyzed its animations, you're just going to get bubbled on, and you're going to blast yourself with the Miter or the Dual Tox, and you'll be like, what the heck just happened? So, yeah, I think mainly these levels. So, here's what I want on my Steel Path. My ideal situation on the Steel Path would be these Acolytes are so deadly and so tanky that we might have to leave. They're so deadly we can't kill them. Now, of course, I'm talking the point of view of like a mid-level player. Now, what is this Acolyte? Level 250 after we waited another like 10 minutes? So I think these Acolytes should be the reason you have to leave. The endurance run should be turned off by how ridiculous these Acolytes get later and later. Because right now, the way it stands, the Steel Path, it's not an endurance run. It's an endurance run of how much free time you have. It's not a damage test. It's not a survivability test. With the builds we're using, I'm not saying that like using OP stuff makes it where you're good. I'm just saying when you choose to use the proper stuff, these missions are a complete joke. And the Acolytes, which should be a massive deterrent for you going this late, are level 300 when there's level 4,000 enemies around. So it's just silly to me. Now, what could DE do? And also, what do you think is this even a good idea? So like, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. But I think the steel path is too easy. I don't think we need like a titanium path. Like, I don't think the actual enemy HP is the problem. I think I think there's a bunch of factors, honestly. One of them being the Acolytes, though. These guys are made to, like, basically stop us from camping, but all they do is they die in one hit, like a level 300, because they are level 300. They don't scale. Now, what they do scale with, they scale with how many players in your squad. The amount of health a 1-player Acolyte has versus a 4-player Acolyte, you will notice it for sure. But then when the scaling is not really coming into play, like, me personally, I think we should be having a team shot these Acolytes at level 10,000, but that is definitely not the case. The Acolyte dies in like 1 tick of damage if you're using an actual meta build. So let me know how you guys feel about this down below. There are other factors to the steel path being easy to late game players. Now, it's not exactly a complaint that normal early game players have, but when we're talking about Void Cascade, a lot of players have been playing Void Cascade recently. You get level 10,000 in like an hour. So when you're doing level 10,000 in an hour, the Acolyte is scaling over time, so your Acolyte's like level 300 at that point. So it really feels silly. They made it where enemies are weaker in this game a couple years ago as far as like their EHP and all that, and we have so much damage right now too that it's kind of just, it doesn't feel like much of a challenge. And since we're farming these arcane so easily, it's making the arcane prices go down massively too, because the steel path is just really, really easy when you use good stuff. Now, of course, I could use bad stuff. Like, I could just go in here with a Stug and a Argonac and no dagger. I could go with like a Stug and Argonac and a Shaku, like a nunchuck. But at the same time, I farmed all this stuff. I want to use the good stuff I farmed out and feel rewarded for me grinding these things out, getting this good build. I got Prime Convulsion. Oh man, that build's got more corrosive on it, etc., etc. And I think Acolytes could be a step in that direction, where it really is pushing more squad synergy at high levels. There's about to be an Acolyte spawning in like 2 minutes here. It's going to be level 10,000, so we should probably all gather up to kill this level 10,000 Acolyte, because if you don't, man, you're going to get some really, really good damage, because, yeah, the Acolyte dies in like 1 tick at like level 200 or 300, but if he was level 10,000, maybe he'd be a lot more tanky. Now, I know that they do, like, you can see a level 10,000 Acolyte. That's just not realistic. People aren't doing people aren't doing like 10-hour survivals. People are doing Void Cascades. People are doing Disruptions, and, maybe like a couple hour survival here and there. But you're not going to be in survival for 10 hours to get to level 10,000. So for the level 10,000 mission we run, they go really quick, and that's nice, but I think the Acolytes themselves are kind of a big joke, and they're just kind of like a loot pinata every 4 minutes that gives you an arcane and some steel essence. So let me know what you guys feel about this down below. Do you think that this is a issue? Do you think this needs to get changed? Do you have a neutral thought on this? I think, honestly, most people will be neutral on it, because, like, oh, I don't do level 10,000 on the regular. I don't really care about this. Or maybe I do level 10,000 on the regular. This would make it more annoying. No, bad idea, guys. So either way, guys, let me know how you feel about this down below in the comments. I appreciate all support. And maybe I'm off base. Maybe most people think like this is totally fine. Like level 260 Acolyte with a level 7,000 Thrax, whatever. It's just how it has always been. I don't really care at this point. So appreciate all support, guys. I'll see you next time. Take it easy. Bye.